Hello and welcome to the second episode 1.5 of the Wrexham Legends Lounge podcast. That's going to carry on being a mouthful for as long as I keep doing this. In association with Hill Street Social, who we hopefully will be able to visit soon and do these sort of things in person. Now, joining me today is the man behind the Wrexham Legends group, because while you might see the title and think Wrexham Legends, this is a podcast all about former Wrexham players or people formerly associated with the club, but also the Wrexham Legends are a group that help raise charity, raise funds in, well, I guess for local teams, smaller teams to raise play friendlies, to raise awareness for causes and just to raise money for great causes. And the brains behind this, if there are some there, is Mr. Jon PD Morris. How are we doing, PD?
I'm good, mate. But before we go any further, let's just put one thing out there. I listened to the last one, obviously, and you said about that being long-winded. You picked that name.
Yeah, I consulted with you. There was a list of them.
You picked that name, so I went, yeah, sounds good. You were the one that had to read it out all the time.
Well,
so that's fine.
It ties in nicely, because when we do this in person, hopefully, then it'll be in Hill Street Social. There is an area called the Legends Lounge. So that was my thinking was, well, Hill Street are helping us out with this. It's the Wrexham Legends group, the Legends Lounge. It all ties together. But yeah, I'm so gonna, every time I go to say it, I have to like slow down and enunciate to get it all out properly.
That's it, exactly.
So
great.
Yeah, introduce yourself to the world, PD, because you used to be tied in with the football club, working under Mel Pejic, which some people may or may not know as in the physio department. Which is, I guess, where you started to make contact with a lot. Well, you met a lot of these players, and then you've taken that on to make this Wrexham Legends group. Yeah,
I did 6.5 years at the racecourse as a volunteer. I never took a penny, but I had a mentor in Mel Pejic, who I would say today is still a friend, good mate. If ever I'm stuck, I can pick up a phone, I can ask the question, and Pej is there. So when I went to Wrexham, at the time, we'll call me a bucket man, because didn't have any qualifications. I was a bucket man for Lex. And Pej was running the course. So I went to the course with Pej. Course went well, and ended up doing a little bit of a help to Richie Rawlings, who was Pej's assistant, now first team physio, West Brom. So we did that, helped out a little bit, and then it became a bit more regular. And then next thing you know, I'd done 6.5 years. So yeah, it was good. I got to meet quite a few of the lads who were in our group. Some of them I'd worked with away from Wrexham as well, because obviously, as we know, a lot of our players go Welsh Prem.
That was my cat just disturbing my camera for some reason there.
Yeah, the cat's made an appearance. So quite a few of the players have played Welsh Prem and whatnot, and then we kept in touch and did the odd charity game here and there. And then we did something a couple of years back now. We did one, and it was for a little boy in Wrexham, little fellow called Jackson, who unfortunately passed away. But we got together and did a couple of games for Jackson's family. And it was one of them. I think it was Steve Watkin went to me, "Can we do this a bit more often?" So now it's like, before COVID, it was like once a month, and hopefully once we get back, it'll be back to once a month.
Yeah. And what sort of time frame was it that you were at the racecourse then, just to give people an idea of that? Like when was it that you left at the end of this 6.5 years?
So LDVs, I was there.
I've heard the story of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was in I was quite nice, because I was sat in a box, and me being away from Wrexham, a Manchester United fan, I had Alex Ferguson sitting just behind me, which was quite nice. So it was that sort of time. I think I had probably another 12 months, I think, after the LDVs, and then I moved on to pastures new.
Yeah. So most of your time was under Dennis Smith. That would be the man at the top of the tree.
Dennis Smith was the gaffer.
Yeah.
And to me, he was a great guy. I used to go in where I was working at the time. I used to work nights, so I'd come off nights 1 week in 3, and I'd go in for a couple of days, helping Pej and learning and stuff. And Dennis Smith was always brilliant with me. Couldn't fault the man. When it came to the LDV Vans final, I wasn't meant to have a ticket because I wasn't classed as paid staff. And Dennis Smith found out through Pej, and it all got sorted out. And then next thing, I had tickets for the final and everything.
Brilliant.
So that just shows what type of guy Dennis Smith was.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people that got a lot of time for Dennis. And I guess if we look back at it, that was like, even though that season we got relegated, and obviously he ended up losing his job, I guess, the year after. But that time was the last kind of period of success we've seen with the promotion we got, and then with the LDV. Even though, like I said, that year didn't go too well in the league. And there is a lot of time. Even now, I find myself going back semi-regularly and watching a DVD of the promotion season, just because it's exciting football. The way we set up with the 3-5-2 with Carlos as a right wing back and Paul Edwards on the left. It was just this perfect storm of like we had 4 great strikers that would rotate with obviously Andy Morrell, Lee Trundle, Hector Sam, Lee Jones, and you'd have Fergie pulling the strings with Jim Whitley, that steady head, and then you'd have like Steve Thomas, Paul Barrett coming in, Scott Green coming in, and then your back line where you'd have Dennis Lawrence was just superb, Brian Carey, Pedge, Steve Roberts, was Matty Crowder. It was just this team. It was. Jesus,
and you want me to pick an 11 later?
Yeah, we should say, if you saw the first episode of this or listened to the first episode of this, Mark McGregor was our first guest, was a great way to start things off. And what will become a regular feature of this in every single episode is that the guest is going to pick their all-time Wrexham 11 of their time playing for the club or involved in the club or watching the club. So, yeah, PD will be picking his all-time Wrexham 11. And considering how many mates you've got who are ex-players, you're going to be getting some dogs abuse from the lads who don't make it, I'd imagine.
Yeah, good chance, but never mind. I don't care. I organise it. I'll just
off they go. Remove them from the WhatsApp group. Whoever starts piping up. Yeah. So where are things now? And obviously COVID hit, and that's restricted everything that we know in day-to-day life. But what are the tentative plans you've got for the Legends playing games again?
So
I know there's a few things in the works.
There's a few. Yeah, there's a couple of things in the irons in the fire. I don't really want to mention who they are, but I will say that we're trying to organise some games with fellow Legends teams. So our thing has always been that we've always done the games have always been for local clubs or local charities that needed a bit of help, which is great, and that's what I'm going to carry on doing. And what I will say is for people who are sad enough to watch this one, to watch Point 5, is that if you are looking for games, please, now is the time to start sending us some messages through our Twitter, direct messages, and then we can look at planning our diary for the games that we can, once we can start again, which hopefully, fingers crossed, isn't going to be too far away now. So we have got irons in the fire, like I say, and at the minute we're looking at the possibility of 3 ex-professional teams to players. So the lads need some pre-season friendlies. So please, like I say, get in touch. And fingers crossed, we won't be too far away. And then the other thing we also want to start back doing is, because we had one before we locked down, is Legends evenings. So where you have to put your mug and the lads, and we'll do hopefully at our new home, which has obviously been mentioned, Hill Street, and do some evenings with the Legends there. We'll have to see how we go. I don't think it'll be too long now. Yeah. Bearing in mind how old the team is, most of them have probably had a jab or 2 by now. So
I'm pretty sure Benno was the first to get it in the UK, wasn't he?
Yeah, Benno must have been.
What are you looking forward to most about just playing these games again? Then is it just getting the lads back together, that the spirit there? Because there is, I hate the word banter, it goes through me a bit, but there's a lot of banter in there. There's a lot of you can tell that the ex-players and even like players didn't necessarily play together at the same period. It just seems like there's a good spirit amongst the group that everybody just likes to have a bit of fun, sort of thing.
Well, that's the thing with the lads, as you know, because you're in it. We've got our own little WhatsApp group. I'm not going to divulge anything that goes on that WhatsApp group because this isn't the place. But it is, like you say, it's the banter, it's the lads getting. It is like another family. It is like a little family that's growing, which is good. But it was just nice to get everyone back together again and see all the lads. And like you just mentioned, there's different ranges of players from different time frames, and also it's not just players who are like you like to see your Bennos and your Luggers, who are the big superstars. We've got players in our group as well, as you know, who didn't perhaps get the the limelight that them guys got, but they're still part of Wrexham. So if you're part of Wrexham Football Club, you're part of the family, and that's how it works.
Yeah. Well, what was the big impetus for just to go back to like when you decided to start the Legends? I know you said you played the few games originally, and Stevie Watkin kind of said, "Can't we do this more regularly?" What about like the very first game that was arranged? Like, what kind of sparked the idea that this would be a good way to help out whichever cause it was at first?
I think one of the first things we did was for Lugger's good lady. For her company, we went over to Prescott Cables. It's quite a funny story to that, actually. So when you designed our logo for this, I said to you that I wanted you to put one person's face on that we had to have. Yeah. And that was Kieran Durkin. Kizza, to me, had to be on that logo. So when we played at Prescott Cables, it was quite funny because Kizza played in that game. And Lugger had got the kit sorted from Wrexham. If I remember right, we played in the green strip, Adidas as it was at the time. And after the game and everything, lads darting about, going to get a beer and do the draws and everything. And Lugger went to look at the kit, and there was hardly any kit left. Lugger's going, "Where's it gone? Where's it gone? Don't know. I haven't got a clue." The lads are going, "Don't know." And Kizza must have had a bag full. He had shirts, he had shorts. He said to me, "Go on, PD." I'm not a footballer by any means. Even I had 10 minutes at the end because we were short on numbers. And he went, "Go on, put them in your bag. It'll be all right. Don't worry about it, mate." So yeah, Kizza was brilliant. Like, so he had to be in our logo, and everyone obviously loves Kizza, especially for what he did at certain football matches. But I'm not going to go into that one.
Yeah. As a Man United fan, you probably don't want to touch on that one.
Yeah, I don't really want to touch too much on that. But no, Kizza was brilliant. I didn't really know him too well until we did a couple of the games, and he just made me feel really welcome. See, from my point of view, I look at it that I'm quite lucky to be involved in it, because I don't really see me as I had 6.5 years working in the academy and stuff at Wrexham. I don't really see that as a proper role at Wrexham, but I'm quite lucky and fortunate that I made some really good friends. One of them sitting over your shoulder, and in Mr. Jones. So it's like I just find myself in a fortunate position, and if I can help them lads enjoy time together, play games, help charities, help football clubs, that's nice for me. I like that.
Yeah, I think you have to take some credit though as well. It's like testament to yourself that, okay, you might have had the few lads that knew you during your time at Wrexham, they might have played a couple of games for you, but the fact that clearly you made such a good impression on them that they've got other people to come in and then they've stuck around because, again, you must have made a good impression on them. So, yeah, I think you need all the credit in the world on that one, PD. That looked good. Played it down. Play it cool. Yeah.
Not like that. Don't want that.
Play it cool, Trig. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we should, I guess we should probably start to get towards the bit you're probably dreading, which would be your all-time Wrexham 11. Now, Macca, I know Macca struggled a little bit. I know he was a bit gutted at it. Speaking to him, he was a bit gutted he had to leave out Wayne Phillips. I think it was Steve Watkin as well. But yeah, you've got to think there's all these players. I mean, our next guest, I'll say our next guest is going to be, I don't know whether to make a big announcement or not, but our next guest is going to be Neil Wainwright coming up in the next, I think next weekend, that'll probably go out. And I know he's already fretting about who he's going to put in his team, where they're going to go in his team. And Wally in the first team, he was only really around for a year in that. So you've got like 6.5 years of being involved in the club, not to mention your time before that as a fan to pull from. So you've got a lot of players here that you could offend. So take it away, Mr. PD.
Could offend, will offend. So my team, obviously, because like you said, I'm quite lucky in mates and whatnot within the team and stuff. So some of mine are going to sit out of position because there was players here I had to put in. Okay. So in the sticks, this is easy for me. LDV Vans, so Mr. Foster. I had to put Ben in. When I worked at Wrexham, obviously I didn't do a lot with the first team, but Ben Foster was such a great guy, great character, and to see him go to Manchester United obviously was good as well. Going to play with a back four.
Okay.
And this guy said he didn't think he'd get in anyone else's team, so he put himself in. So Maka, yeah, definitely has to be in for me. Now these two are going to sit out of position, so they're going to sit in the middle of the park for me. One is a legend of our club, a legend of the town, and that's Joey, who is also one of the honorary presidents of the Legends, which we need to sort of mention. So Joey, and then another person that's become a good friend working with him in sort of semi-professional football, in Neil Ashton. Ashy, another one, great character, run through a brick wall for a gaffer, and doesn't give me much bother apart from needing the odd rub.
Should probably like specify you were at time of Ashy at Druids, didn't you, Kevin Druids?
And also at Llandudno, where I am now. So Neil Ashton he's a great lad. He's a fantastic guy, down to earth, little terrier, and just an overall good guy. And like you say, the three names I've mentioned so far are all, well, the four names with Fozzie are all great people as well. So the final man in the pack, this is the one that's one of the ones I think that'll trip you over. Darren Wright.
Right, okay.
So when I was a younger person, shall we say, and he was playing for Wrexham, Darren was the blonde hair, if you remember, he had always his blonde hair and whatnot, was sort of my sort of favourite player. So Daz has to go in. Unfortunately, a few years back, we played one of our Legends games at Mould, and Daz took ill during the game. So unfortunately, he had a heart attack during the game. God. So thankfully, everything was okay after. He was brilliant, back to health, and he's in our group as well. So Darren Wright has to be in my team. Middle of the park, Yozza. And we've already mentioned him today, so Kieran Durkin. Kizza has to be in there just because of how he was, I think, if anything else. Out on the wings, Carlos Edwards and Lugger.
Okay.
And up top, two men up top. One has to be Benno. And here's the one that I thought you wouldn't have got. Is Jim Steele.
Right. Yeah, before my time, that of watching.
Before your time, mate. So my 10th birthday, 1986, November the 5th, we played Real Zaragoza. And Jim Steele played up front. Jim Steele scored, I think, 51 goals for Wrexham in something like 160 appearances. So Jim Steele, big frame of a guy, really good player. Dixie had him in. I just liked him as a player.
Yeah.
So there's an 11. And obviously for me,
Hold on, you're going to go rogue here and pick some subs, aren't you?
No. I'm just going to pick a staff member, one staff member.
Right.
So I've got to have a physio, haven't I? Me being the physio. So there's only one man I'm going to pick as my physio. He wasn't in my team. Has to be Melvin, doesn't it, Mr. Pejic? Melvin,
Pejic. Yeah.
Exactly. So Pejic has to be my physio without a doubt.
That's not a bad lineup at all there, PD. I like the fact you've got basically your defence is 4 fullbacks. What about that, physio? I'm not sure with Darren whether he's right-footed or left-footed, but you've got 2 left-footed centre halves, so you're fullbacks. I'm thinking
it's my ideal 11. I can pick what I want.
Oh, you can do whatever you want with that.
I'm chairman of the Legends group, so I can do it anyway.
I like that you got Kizza in there. I'm not sure what centre mid though. And then with Yozza, I'm thinking, where's the defensiveness in this?
You got it.
While you are the chairman of the Legends, you also pick the teams.
We get goals, mate.
Yeah. Brian Hughes gets in. I think pretty much anyone that saw him play, Yozza's probably going to be in their team. I think just to spotlight Yozza for a second, I don't know. I think he got a lot of unfair stick in recent years where people maybe just remember him as the manager, where it's like, whether he's any good or not as a manager for us, that's your own opinion. But like you can't forget how great a footballer, how great a player he was for Wrexham. Coming into the first team at 17, I remember he got sent off really early on, at 17, and then Flinney kind of kept him away from the first team for a bit. Which, to be fair to Flinney, that ended up working really well when he brought him back into the team, and maybe helped him mature a little bit. But yeah, as a footballer, it's like, Jesus, man, what a player for Wrexham.
That'd be funny. Some of the names that, like, just from the Legends group that I left out.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got Mickey Thomas, another honorary president of the Legends group, who's not in there. Barry Horn, I thought about as well. Mark Morris in sticks, Teeny.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Walco himself, as you mentioned up top. I think if you look back at Wrexham Football Club over the history, some of the players that we've had, you could pick 20 teams and you'd still set people.
Yeah.
That's how good a club Wrexham Football Club is.
Yeah. And even like if you pinpoint like certain periods, you could get two equally good teams just out of like one season, one group's worth of players. Like just talk about when Yozza was playing that centre midfield. You had Yozza was there, Wayne was still there at that point in time. Gareth Owen was there, Dave Brammer was there, and and Peter Ward was there, and that's like your centre midfield where we were only playing two centre. Well, Flinney kind of played a tucked in third centre midfielder, but yeah, when you've only got 2 or 3 spots and you've got there 5-6 players all capable of doing that job there, and then up front with Carl and Watco, even and Benno and even when Dean Spink came in, there was options. Steve Morris at one point in time was in and around the squad. There was times when we had success where there's just from those teams you could pick you could put together a couple of good teams, and even more so that promotion season, in 2002, 2003, with that team where you could there was so much so much talent in depth, and then you add somebody like a Wanu Gati to it, or Mark Jones when Jonah came through, Danny Williams came back, Dagger, Stevie Ebbs comes in.
Like you're naming players there who, well, 2 of them you named I've worked with at Bala, so it's like you could go on forever and ever. Like, you know, you mentioned then Yozza about perhaps things didn't quite work out for him as manager, but as a player, fantastic.
Yeah.
If you look at some of our managers that we've had who have been players, so Yozza, Keatsy was a little terrier. Brian Flynn, great footballer. One of my good friends, Dixie McNeil. I'm not being funny. What a player! I remember as a kid when my dad used to do what I do. On a Sunday morning, my dad used to be the bucket man for the Fairfield, and Dixie used to play for the Fairfield on a Sunday. I mean, wow. So when you say about players that this club's had, Billy Ashcroft, people like that, we're littered with fantastic footballers, and I think we've got some good ones now. And I do think we'll move back up, hopefully soon, get back where we belong.
Yeah, well, we should probably specify this being recorded after another 4-0 win. So we've had back-to-back 4-0 wins. We all get optimistic then, especially after 3 defeats on the bounce.
That's 8 goals in 2 games.
It is, yeah. 8 goals scored, none conceded.
You were on about my team a minute ago with defence. Well, I'll just go and score goals. It's fine.
There's a few goals in that side, yeah.
Of course it is. But yeah, so it's like it is one of them. You know, when as a club, and obviously I'm not a player, so I'm a backroom person. But some of the backroom staff we've had at Wrexham, BP, Brian Prandall, unbelievable man, gentleman. Hence why he is also an honorary president of the Legends. You know, you look at everyone will speak about the man, but Joey, what a guy, would do anything for you to help you. I mean, when I first joined the club, and Joe's been a friend of the family, and it was like when I got there, it was like, come here, mate, arm round you. Let's you know, never been at a pro club, so help me out. Unbelievable people.
Brilliant. There's a lot of people also have a lot of time and a lot of nice things to say about Cliff Sear as well. That's one that always comes up. And
unfortunately, I'm good. I never met Cliff, but yeah, again, all the stories you hear about him, what a guy.
Yeah, I think it would have been maybe about 97. I think he retired, possibly. I remember because I said this to Maka when we had the first episode where Cliff Sear was a name that was always in the background. I'd never really heard of him until going to his testimonial game, which against Manchester City at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember Chris Armstrong came back and played for Wrexham when I guess Armo was at Spurs at the time. I think Mickey might even have played, but it was just like, oh, right, okay, well, this guy's clearly held in high regard. And then you learn later on you hear the stories from Mark McGregor. I know Neil Roberts as well has talked highly about him in interviews. Well, everybody seems to talk highly about Cliff Sear. Kevin Reeves as well when he was there, and Rooster when he was number 2 under Dennis, I guess, as well. You'd have worked with him a bit.
Yeah. So like you say, it's the staff. If you look at some of the people that have worked at Wrexham Football Club who have gone on to, I'll say bigger things. I won't say better, because how can you say better than us? Yeah. But Steve Cooper.
Yeah, manages Swansea now on the cusp of the Premier League.
Manages Swansea, managed England, won the World Cup with them. You know, he's gone on to bigger things. Good mate of mine, Dr. Adam Owen, had worked with us when I worked at the academy, and you look at him now, and Seattle Sounders, worked at Rangers, worked at Celtic. You know, he's been at big clubs. Steve Weaver went on to other things. There's lots of people that worked at the academy at Wrexham or within Wrexham who have moved on to bigger clubs. Like I said earlier on, Richie Rawlins was Pejic's assistant. He's first team physio at West Brom and has been for years. There's lots of them about.
Yeah.
And I got stuck with the old ones.
Yeah, you got having to give Cole Connolly a massage on his knee or whatever it is. Yeah. I'm sure some people pay for that privilege, to be honest. But yeah, Lugger hasn't quite got the pace he's got used to have.
Let me know. We can set something up.
Brilliant. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we need to get in it. We're kind of ticking a lot of bases.
We do need to get in. So we do all these charity games and things. Like I said, please do get in touch if you'd like us to try and bring the guys to you. But we are still also always looking for some new sponsors to help us. Obviously, we're lucky that we've got kit and things sorted, but little sponsorships help us with like things like match balls and stuff that we need as well. So if anyone's there attached to a company, please drop us a line, even if it's something you might think 50 quid's nothing, but 50 quid helps, buys a couple of footballs and stuff. So if anyone wants to help the Legends and obviously get mentioned on things like this and on our social medias, that would be a great assistance to us.
Yeah, drop us a DM on Twitter, which is at Legends Wrexham on Twitter. On Facebook, it's Wrexham Legends. We've got Wrexham Legends at hotmail.com and also Wrexham Legends at gmail.com. We're ticking all boxes. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, because this will be on YouTube and also the audio version will be available. If you're watching on YouTube, just pop a comment in there if you've got any interest in that. I should probably say as well, for anyone that's listening to this or watching this and is thinking, why can't we just get these on podcasts? Hopefully by the time this goes out, that should be resolved, because it takes a few days for things to get approved. So all being well, this should soon be on Spotify and iTunes and Google Podcasts and Stitcher and all of the regular ones, in addition to being on YouTube and also on the main RSS feed, which you can find at the Wrexham Legends Twitter account. There we go. I think that's it.
Did you go with the old school shirt because you were interviewing me?
No, it was I was put on this morning. I'd almost forgot, because we spoke to Pete behind the scenes, but we were supposed to do this yesterday. Somebody was too busy in the garden, and I'd almost forgot. When I woke up the first thing this morning, had a shower, threw on a shirt, and it was this one. And then it was only like about midday, and I thought like, oh god, yeah, I'm supposed to be speaking to PD later, which it ties in nicely. To be fair, I'll remind you of your glory days, of your youth. Is it?
I had that kit as a kid.
Yeah. This one is it's not an original. Let's just say that.
Yeah, but I'm not showing you the photo either.
That sounds like something that needs to be dug up for a future episode of this. This picture of you.
It's on my Facebook, mate.
Oh, nice. I'll have a scour of that then as soon as I get off this.
Block now.
PD, this has been fun. I speak for all the lads when I say like a massive, genuine, sincere, heartfelt thanks for all the work you put in behind the scenes. That people. It's one thing that the people who maybe go to the Wrexham Legends games and they go to watch Carl Connolly, they go to watch Benno if he's around or whatever, or any particular player. But that stuff can't happen without you, and it's you that does so much of the work behind the scenes. So massive thanks for that, mate. It's hugely appreciated by me and all the lads. Cheers,
mate. Appreciate that. And also to you as well for all the hard work you're doing helping me, because I wouldn't have been able to set stuff.
Oh, don't be daft. It's talking with a bit of arsing around with graphics. Easy enough. Simple. So that's episode 1.5 in the books. Or this might just become episode 2 now. I don't know, because it's become a full episode. It's supposed to just be a little introduction to what the Legends are. So maybe this becomes episode 2. But the next episode is Neil Wainwright. There is another guest after that already booked, and there's another one after that already booked and confirmed. So yeah, hopefully this is going to be a weekly thing. And yeah, stick around for Neil Wainwright in it. Probably a few days after this goes out. Mark McGregor, the interview with Mark McGregor, which is great, is still around to listen to. Where he talks about his talent at Wrexham, about his highs and the lows, the so close but so far promotion years, the FA Cup run we had in 96, 97, about moving to Burnley, and a slightly controversial move at the time of when he went there. And when he went there, he was playing with Gaza. So there's a nice, fun Gaza story and a nice, fun Glenn Little story about Glenn Little nearly playing for England. So go and check out all of that and subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff, wherever you listen to this or watch this. PD, cheers again, mate.
Mate.
And we'll see you all soon.
See you soon.
Wrexham is the name. Wrexham, Wrexham, Wrexham.